Welcome to outside Gillette Stadium as OTAs are wrapping up for the New England Patriots. I'm Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert analyst for WEEI.com and expert columnist, I might add.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime. Christopher Price. Chris, OTAs are wrapping up next week. We finally start mini camp for the Patriots. Talk about the transition and why OTAs wrapping up is important leading into minicamp. Why is it a big deal?
Well, I think it's about building a foundation at this time of year. You want to be able to make sure you know what you're doing before you put the pads on, before the real work gets involved. You know, you want to make sure that guys know where they need to be, predominantly the new guys, predominantly the rookies. We saw some very interesting stuff today out of Jimmy Garoppolo. There was no Ryan Mallett on the field today for the OTA session, so Garoppolo got a lot of reps, had a good start, looked a little uneven toward the end. He was obviously the rookie that you want to keep the most attention, really drew the most attention during the day. But really, at this point, like you said, with the OTAs, it's all about building that foundation, learning your playbook, knowing where you need to be. For minicamp next week, that's when the real action is.
We should emphasize that OTAs are technically voluntary. Do you read anything into the fact that Ryan Mallett wasn't here?
No. There was a handful of guys on and off over the course of, the OTA sessions that we saw. Brandon LaFell wasn't here, the week before. Ryan Mallett not here today. Dominique Easley still not on the field on a consistent basis. But look, I would start to be concerned if they weren't here for minicamp. Minicamp. If they weren't around for minicamp and obviously into July for training camp, at this point, like you said, it's voluntary. I don't think they want to take any chances with guys who might have injury problems, with Easley's injury history, guys with excused absences. I wouldn't read too much into it.
All right, something we did see Jimmy Garoppolo working with was offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. McDaniels had the headset on toward the end of practice today. What could they possibly be working on? Is that something where you want to get the fundamentals, the mechanics of working with the headset down during a game-like situation?
Yeah, exactly. Just logistics. Just getting used to a new system for a rookie. That's another thing that the quarterback has to get used to at the NFL level. So that's something you have to get used to. The other thing that I thought was interesting, Garoppolo was under center. He really didn't go under center an awful lot over the course of his college career. So I wonder if that was one of the reasons why he appeared to struggle toward the end of practice in 11-on-11s. He had the ball slip out of his hand when he's trying to pump fake toward the end. So
that happened last week as well.
Exactly. So he was a little bit uneven. Although last week you can make an argument.
Rain.
Look, it was a rainy situation. It was bad. We can see here it's not a great day, but there's no rain involved in this situation here. So it was a mixed bag from him in practice today. But I think it's important, like we said before, just to get out in the field, get those reps, get involved in the playbook, start to work with the veteran guys, and kind of build from that.
He not only got more reps today, but I thought he got some reps with the starters. Obviously, the offensive line. What kind of significance is there in that? Granted, this is OTAs, like you said, no pads whatsoever, but he was in with the starting offensive line group. What do you read into that?
And he didn't look overwhelmed. I think that's all you're looking for this time of year. In that kind of situation with a rookie like Garoppolo under center, you just want to make him appear as comfortable as possible, and again, not be overwhelmed, not have to throw too much at him. He looked okay in that aspect of it. Again, there were times where he struggled. He threw some bad balls. He threw some very good balls. I thought he had a great connection very early in practice with Roy Finch on a passing drill. So take it for what it's worth. Again, it's all part of the building process. I want to see him more when he gets the pads on, but today was a step in the right direction.
Let's talk, Chris, about a couple of veterans here that were on the field today. Veterans coming back from serious injury. Two key components, one on each side of the ball, that were not available to the Patriots as they made their run to the AFC Championship last year. Vince Wilfork formerly took part in OTA practice today, at least for a portion of it, at least the beginning of it, maybe let's say the first 45 minutes or so before heading into the bubble behind us. And Sebastian Vollmer, he was back practicing today. The significance of having those two players in this environment, not just working in the bubble, but out on the field with the rest of the team. What do you read into that?
It's big to get them back up to speed as fast as possible. Look, these guys are not rookies. They know the situation, they know the environment, they know the atmosphere, they know the system, so it's not like you need to school them in the playbook. But they need to, in some ways, kind of start from zero again when it comes to getting ready for the regular season, when it comes to conditioning, when it comes to building up that injured body part. And this is all part of that process. We talked about how the rookies are going through the same thing. Those guys, to some extent, are having to go through the same thing with their injury situation. So it's good to see them out here. If you're a Patriots fan, you have to be encouraged about where they are. Again, like you said, Wilfork was participating. He participated in most of the practice today. The next step is to put those pads on for minicamp.
And when that does happen next week, what do fans look for at minicamp as opposed to what they did not see during OTAs, aside from just the pads?
You want to see some crispness to it. You want to see, you don't have to be a finished product at minicamp, but you want to be fairly close to training camp ready. You know, you want to be able to hit, you want to be able to build up that conditioning, you want to be able to, you know, execute properly on both sides of the ball. That's really what you're looking for in that situation. And really, at this point, right now, throughout June, late May, early June, they're building to that point. They're laying that foundation. What you have to do, once minicamp rolls around, you have to start executing on the stuff that you put into place throughout May and June.
Somebody else we had a chance to talk to, Chris, today was a new number 55 taking the place of Brandon Spikes, James Anderson, a coverage linebacker that the Patriots signed, an 8-year veteran, I believe it is, from the Carolina Panthers.
In Chicago
and the
well,
Chicago Bears, right. We had a chance to talk to him. He knows he's undersized for his position, especially when you step on the field with guys like Gerard Mayo and Dante Hightower. He knows that he is not that big of a linebacker, so he has to make up for it in terms of speed. What have you seen from him here in OTAs that impresses you?
He was about the same size as Adrian Wilson last year.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of looking at a guy who's a safety as opposed to a coverage linebacker, I think that's his job if he can seize it. I think when you look at this roster, there are not a lot of guys on this roster at the linebacker position who are quote-unquote coverage linebacker types. I think he has an opportunity to win that job. If he comes in here, he plays well, he shows he has an ability to pick up that system. For what it's worth also, he's a very well-regarded veteran. Both in Chicago and Carolina, guys rave about him. Guys rave about his ability to mentor some of the younger guys. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he has an effect on any of the younger Patriots players, specifically on the defensive side of the ball now.
When he was asked if there are a few things missing from his resume, James Anderson, with a wry smile, Chris said, yeah, a couple of Pro Bowl appearances and maybe, a couple of Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
So obviously when you come here to the Patriots, that's one of the big things. When the Patriots come calling, you know you immediately have that chance. So next week, Chris, we wrap up the May and June portion of preparation, off-season preparation for the Patriots with a 3-day minicamp here at Gillette Stadium, WEEI.com. Yours truly and Chris will be on hand for all 3 days. So keep it locked on WEEI and WEEI for complete Patriots coverage. Outside Gillette Stadium, he's Christopher Price. I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.